I have a pretty good funnel tutorial for you today. We're going to use Deadline Funnel and a couple of my other favorite tools to create a scarcity funnel so that when somebody signs up for a free lead magnet or something free on your website, you can give them a countdown timer and make a special offer to them that expires and uses real scarcity. And overall, I've been using this funnel in my business now for about a year and a half. For me, it's converting at about 16%. I had a couple spikes where it went as high as 25% and it dipped a little lower than 16%, but we've kind of settled in that 16 to 18 range. So it's been working really well for me. It's worked on high ticket items. My membership is, uh, even for the time I've been running this funnel, well over $700. So it's been working well at that tier of a funnel. So I have to imagine that it would work likely even better for a lower priced funnel. So keep those things in mind as we walk through the setup that I'm going to show you today. Okay, so what are you going to need? You're going to need Deadline Funnel, an email marketing tool. I'm going to use FluentCRM inside of this tutorial because it's actually one of the more difficult to set up, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then you're going to need a tool to build your website or build landing pages, sales pages. I use Thrive Suite, so we'll be using Thrive Architect. And then you need what you're giving away for free. I'm giving away a free training. So that's my funnel. Let's walk through the setup. Before we get started inside of Deadline Funnel, I want to walk through what I would consider a good place to get started on the setup side so that you don't have to do too much back and forth. We're looking at the back end of my website and the 3 pages that I'm using in my funnel. I have my sales page where I'm making the offer. I have my offer expired page and my offer pre-start page. I recommend you build all 3 of these before you get started. That way you're not like stuck in the middle of a setup and having to come back and figure out where you left off. And these don't have to be very complex. So here's my offer expired page. Just tell them that it's expired and they can go to get the offer if they want it. Now in our setup that we're going to use, I'm going to show you that this page might actually be optional based on the latest setup that I'm using, but it doesn't hurt. It takes like 5 seconds to make this page. And then we've got the offer pre-start page, which is where they go if the deal hasn't started yet. And the last page that you'll need is your sales page, where they can learn about your product and buy it. Okay, now we're going into Deadline Funnel, and this is where we're going to spend a little bit of time. So I clicked create a new campaign or new campaign. This is a fresh setup, and I'm going to walk you through the process that I use and the setup that I use to build my funnels. So we're going to give ours a name. I'll just call mine demo funnel for now because I'm not going to keep this one. And you can organize it into different folders. So like if you have different offers, just pretend this one is for my all access membership. And during this overview, which is kind of like a quick start, we're just setting up the basics. So they're going to ask you some questions to help kind of tailor the setup to your setup. Right here they have our email provider and our landing page. So the email provider they've got is Zapier, which is a little strange, but I guess you could use Zapier to send like webhooks and stuff. We're going to choose custom because I'm going to use FluentCRM. But if you use one of these, I recommend choosing what you use. So for example, if you are a ActiveCampaign user, which I was for quite a while, you would click on ActiveCampaign and the setup there is super, super simple. ConvertKit, Keep, etc. They have all the major ones. But we're going to choose custom because we're going to use FluentCRM and we use webhooks for that. And for our landing page builder, we're going to choose WordPress or leave it as WordPress. They've got a couple different other ones. It just gives code that you can use if you're using like a webinar builder. I'm sure there's nuances, but we're just going to choose WordPress. Now we're going to choose our campaign type. These little info icons here are very helpful for choosing the different kinds. And this is one of the reasons I like Deadline Funnel. I'm going to get this question in the comments because I get it all the time. Why do you use Deadline Funnel? Why don't you use Thrive Ultimatum? 2 things. Deadline Funnel has an email countdown inside of the email that you can send, an actual countdown timer. Thrive Ultimatum does not have that at the time of making this video. And Deadline Funnel works off of your website. So you don't just have to put everything inside of your website. So if I wanted to run a webinar and I wanted to integrate Deadline Funnel with a webinar tool, I could do that. If I wanted to use another third-party tool, etc., I'm not just stuck inside of WordPress. So I could embed a countdown timer inside of my Circle community and it would work over there too. I need options in my business and Deadline Funnel provides me with those, so I use it. Anyway, that was a tangent, but one I wanted to get out of the way because it's going to come up. So for our funnel, we're going to choose Evergreen. Live launch isn't applicable. Tripwire could probably work. Upsell, automated webinar, custom, we don't need to do those. So we'll choose Evergreen. It's going to run basically for each user when they sign up. And then we're just going to click next. And now it wants to know for how many days we're going to run our funnel. I'm going to make this one a simple 2-day funnel. They're going to get the offer. We're going to wait 24 hours, and we're going to make an offer that lasts for 24 hours. So 24 and 24, 48 hours, 2 days. And we'll just leave ours default here. New York, 11:59 p.m. That's totally fine. And they give some examples right here that you can read through to help it make sense for you. Okay, on to the next section. We'll click next. And now here are where we have to enter in our pages. And this is why you'll be grateful that you made these pages before we got started. The first one that they're asking for is your sales page. This is the sales page that you're making that special offer on. So I'll put mine in right there. And where do we redirect them to after the offer has expired? Here is where that optional expired page comes in. We could put this offer has expired and then say, sucks for you, sorry, you don't get to go anywhere. We could put a button on that page that says, but you can still get it here. I find most people probably aren't going to do that. So here's what I do instead. I just link them directly to the original sales page of the offer. So if they're getting a special offer for my all access membership, maybe the redirect afterwards is to the non-special offer version of my all access membership. Basically, they try to go to this page after 48 hours and it auto redirects them here, where basically they can keep making that decision without being told, sucks for you, you missed out on the offer. I think I like this way better. So we're going to leave it just like this and click finish. Now we get to see what they call the quick start guide, which is, I felt like we went through the quick start already, but here it kind of is like laid out. You've chosen, and by the way, this is where you come back to after you've gone through this process. So every time you return to your campaign, you'll see this. So here we can see, okay, our quick start is we have Evergreen as our campaign type. Our email provider, in quotes there, is a webhook that we're going to use FluentCRM with. These first two right here, Zapier integration and update WordPress, you don't have to worry about those. You can expand these out and click mark complete and close. That video's freaking out. Click mark complete and close because we've already done those steps. And next is the update email links. So this one's pretty important. We need to set up the links inside of our email that link over to our sales pages. So let's go into that step and click setup. And our first link that we have is what's going to link over to our special offer page. So we get this link, but we need to make a tweak to this. So this right here that they gave us is going to link to this page. However, with FluentCRM, basically you need to make some changes to this link. And this is the link we're going to put in our email that says, hey, thanks for signing up for my free course. Do you want to check out my paid product and get a discount? Click here. That's this link. So we need to copy that to our clipboard. Let me bring up a notepad so we can make some tweaks. Okay, here's our notepad. Let's make those tweaks. There's our link. I should make this bigger. There we go. There's our link that they gave us. Now we need to add something to the end of this to make it work inside of FluentCRM. And it's actually just the what do they call this? The markup language that FluentCRM uses. So we need to put 2 squiggly brackets and do contact.email and close it with 2 squiggly brackets. And that's it. Now what this is going to do is when you put this link inside of an email that you send out to your lead or to your customer, when they click on it, it's automatically going to insert their email. Now this is important because we want to make sure that the person that clicks on this link has an email that is actually currently in the funnel. That's part of the real scarcity here. We want to make sure that somebody can't share this link. We want to make sure that somebody has to currently be in the system in deadline funnel being tracked. So this matches their email with the person that's hopefully already in the funnel. And we'll go through that whole process, but suffice it to say, this is what you need to add to your link. And then you can store this. I'll put a little note here. We'll just call this email link to sales page. Great. Now let's go to the next one. Now on the left, you can see we are still in the email section and we want to add a timer code to our emails. You can edit the appearance of the timer by clicking Edit Appearance, and you can walk through making any customizations you want here on the left. For this tutorial, we're just going to keep the default colors, keep it simple. So we'll come back in here and we will click Copy on this HTML code because there is another tweak we need to make. Let's go back to our document here and let's add email timer and let's paste in the HTML. What you're looking for is after this string here, there's a question mark and it says EM equals. I like to pretend that stands for email. Maybe it does. I don't know. But we need to do the exact same thing. We need to do this squiggly bracket. So I'm just going to copy my squiggly brackets and contact.email. And right after the EM equals ampersand, so between the equal and the ampersand, paste in our contact.email. This is going to make sure that the countdown timer inside of the FluentCRM email matches for that user who's being tracked. If you don't do this step, your countdown timer will not match the real time remaining for the user. These are the two things you need to do if you're a FluentCRM user. If you're not a FluentCRM user, the email provider that you chose during the email provider setup will have already done all of this for you. So those two technical things are out of the way. We have our email timer and our link to our sales page done. Leave this open, but let's jump back into Deadline Funnel. Everything here looks great, so let's go ahead and go back to our quick start guide and scroll down and click Mark Complete for email links. Okay, so that takes care of our email links. Now, the next thing that we want to do is let's head over to the Pages section here on the left-hand side, click on Pages, and I want to make some tweaks here. By default, we are using a floating bar, and the floating bar is okay, but I like to use an embedded countdown so that the remaining time appears on the actual offer sales page. I think it just, for me, works a little bit better than a floating bar in my testing. So we're going to change floating bar to Inline Timer. And with our Inline Timer, we're going to click Edit Settings. And here, we're going to copy this code. And I'm going to go back and I'm just going to put this inside of my same text document that I've been using. And the reason I do this is so that I don't have to come back into each of these sections. I can just say, this is my inline timer and paste in my code. Perfect. And then they've automatically put in my expiration page redirect. We'll just go ahead and leave that exactly like it's at. And then click Save. And then if you want to, you can click Edit Appearance. And this is where you can edit what your countdown timer looks like on your page. I think that looks great, so we'll just click Save and Exit. So the appearance is where you would go to edit your floating bar, inline timer, and stuff like that. The next section we're going to go to is the Settings section here on the left. We'll click on Settings. We want to come down to the Pre-Launch section, and I like to enable Pre-Launch. Pre-Launch is basically what happens if the user gets to your page early. So we'll put in our pre-start page, and then after they've already entered the funnel, if for some reason they got back to this pre-start page, where do you want them to go? You just click this drop down. It automatically populates your offer page. Perfect. We'll leave that there. And then the rest of these for our custom email provider, that's perfect. And we're good to go with the rest. So we'll just click Save. The next section we want to go to is under Campaigns. And this one was a little confusing for me when I was first using Deadline Funnel. But under Campaigns, we want to go to Integrations because we need to set up how we're going to get people inside of our funnel. So we'll click Integrations, and then we'll click on our campaign. Let's go ahead and click on our funnel that we're working with. And you'll see here that we have our custom integration. On the right-hand side, you'll see that we have new integration that we can click on. And this is where we would add integrations for creating the funnel tracking, which is what puts people into our deadline funnel, and creating sales tracking. First, we're going to create our deadline funnel tracking. So we can click Next. And again, this was back when we were choosing our email provider. So we chose custom. If you are not a FluentCRM user, let's say that you used ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign works the same way. It uses webhooks, so you would get a webhook. If you're a ConvertKit user, they use tags and things like that. So it would say, get your API key and connect it to your ConvertKit account and what tag would trigger the integration. So you're just going to want to follow the steps here for whatever tools that you use. And up here at the top, their help section, if you just click there and then click or type in the name of your tool, it'll help you figure it out. But we're going to proceed as if we were using our FluentCRM setup. So we can select our integration, which is custom. It's a webhook. And down here, they give you the webhook URL, and it says paste this webhook into your custom automation wherever you want Deadline Funnel to begin your subscriber. Basically, what starts the person inside of Deadline Funnel. Now we need to create the automation inside of our email tool that's going to trigger all of this, send our emails, show our countdown, etc. Okay, in FluentCRM, I have a fresh automation that I've called Demo Funnel, and I'm going to select the tag that will trigger this funnel to run. For us, we'll choose our free course. That'll be our lead magnet, and we'll click Save. So now when somebody gets added to this tag inside of FluentCRM, this initiates. Okay, well, how do they get tagged? Now, again, this is where you have options. I use ConvertBox. ConvertBox has a form that you can collect the user's information, you can edit those form settings, and then you can choose integrations. Under integrations, I would choose send a webhook, and I would webhook them into FluentCRM. If you were using ActiveCampaign, you could just simply choose ActiveCampaign and then choose what list they go onto and or what tag they go onto. You could also use Thrive Automator, which is part of Thrive Suite, and you could use a form that gets submitted from inside of Thrive. So for example, we could use Thrive Architect, and when a form gets submitted, we can choose a form, choose a random one, and when that gets submitted, you could add an action, and that action could be to add someone in your email tool, in our case, FluentCRM. So we would just add the user in our autoresponder, select FluentCRM, and then walk through that process of choosing the tags and the lists that they get added to. You could also use this for ActiveCampaign. So you could, instead of choosing FluentCRM, choose ActiveCampaign, and you can add them right there. I'm going to leave this choice up to you. Again, I can't possibly cover every conceivable tool that you can choose, but I've covered 2 of the ones that I use. Okay, so back inside of FluentCRM, the user has been added to the tag free course. Now there are several steps that we need to do. It would probably be good if our first action were to send that webhook over to Deadline Funnel to start this user's campaign. So we're going to add an action, and we're going to choose outgoing webhook. We're going to put in our remote URL, which is the webhook given to us by Deadline Funnel. Next, we need to change our format from JSON to form method, and we can leave the rest of these settings the same. So the only real change we had to make was sending it as the form method and not JSON. So there we go. We have our outgoing webhook to Deadline Funnel, and our user has been added to the campaign and their countdown is ticking. Next, inside this automation, I would give them what they signed up for. If I were offering a free course inside of Thrive Apprentice, which is the platform that I use to deliver my courses, then I would come into Thrive Automator and I would create an automation that adds the user to a course when a webhook is received. So my trigger would be incoming webhook. I would copy this URL. For our key, we could put email for their email that's coming in, and then choose dynamic mapping, and then email. And then we would need to add another one for their first name. This generic data would be text, and then click done. And then you would add another step, which would be to go to WordPress, find or create a user, and their first name would be our webhook data first name, and that's all we would need there. And then we would add another action to add them inside of Thrive Apprentice. We would grant access to a product, and that product would be where our course is at. And in this case, it would be like our free training, and then you'd be done there. So then back inside of our FluentCRM automation for delivering this, we would just paste in our webhook URL that we got from Thrive Automator and click Save Settings. So now we have, they get tagged. We send a webhook to Deadline Funnel that adds them to the campaign, gets their countdown started. We send a webhook to Thrive Apprentice that adds them to the free course. Good to go. So we've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Now we need to send an email to our user to let them know everything's good. So let's add an email here. We'll send a custom email. If you haven't watched my video on FluentCRM, actually I've got 2 good videos. One is all about validating emails, and the other one is about creating email templates. I'll link both of those in the description if you're interested in watching them, but we're going to use my template. So I'm going to import a template, and I'm going to import my primary template, and I'm going to create an email that goes out to my user that says, great, you're in, here's what to expect, etc., etc. And then once I like that email, I'll click Save Settings. Now we need to add a wait condition. If you remember, I set my funnel up as a 48-hour funnel. So the first day, let them enjoy their free stuff that they signed up for. After 24 hours, so we're going to add that wait condition, and we're going to say after 1 day, or you can do 24 hours, however you'd like. We're going to add this wait in. Now after this, we're going to send another email that says, hey, I want to give you a special offer. You've got 24 hours to take advantage of it. So there's our 48 hours. And here's where things get interesting, because it's in this email that we're going to link them to our sales page using that special link, and we're going to insert our countdown timer. So come into here and let's create our email. I'm going to go ahead and import my template again, and let's create that email together. So here we go. I've made my email, and I've already inserted these 2 things. So I've inserted my email timer by copying this, and I want to point out, don't forget, after the question mark EM equals, I added the contact.email markup, and then for my, right up here, email link to the sales page, I am inserting this link where we added after question mark EM equals the contact.email markup as well. So with this link copied, you can insert that right here anywhere that you would do a hyperlink text. So if you're going to link someone to the sales page, you would simply highlight this and make this the link. For our countdown timer, it's really easy to do. You just, inside of FluentCRM, add an HTML block right here. Just drag it onto the page, and inside of the HTML code block, you just drop in the code that we copied and edited right here. So that's it. Our email is done. Now you can get fancy and you can add additional emails into this that say, hey, you've got 12 hours, 5 hours, whatever. I'll leave that to you, but this is the foundation of our automation. Now the last remaining step is to go into our sales page or our special promo page and to add this inline timer where we want the user to see their countdown timer. So we'll come back into here and copy this. And now let's go to our special offer page. I'm editing my page using Thrive Architect. Pretty easy to do. All you have to do, I've already done it right here, is drag in a custom HTML element here. So on the right-hand side, just search for custom or HTML and drop this where you want it to go. And then here inside of the custom HTML element, you just drop in that code that we copied. And you can add that in multiple places. So I've added it here at the top, and then I've added it down here at the bottom as well. All right, we've arrived at the end of our deadline funnel tutorial. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope it kind of highlighted some of the nuances that are required when integrating FluentCRM with deadline funnel. I hope it also goes over kind of the process that I use for creating that funnel that converts pretty well. I mean, I think a 16-ish% conversion rate is pretty good on a high ticket item. And hopefully this gives you an idea how you can implement scarcity funnels for something like a Thrive Apprentice course or whatever it is that you're looking to sell. Now, I know that a tutorial and kind of a whole tech stack implementation like this can be a little overwhelming, particularly while you're getting it all set up. So if I didn't cover something that you have a question about, or if there's something that I did explain but you're not quite sure on, definitely leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to get you on the right track. And the best way to get help is inside of the Convology community, where you can ask questions and I can respond with personalized video responses, and other members can jump in and help you out as well. It's the best place to get the fastest response and the most in-depth, personalized, detailed responses from me that'll help you get your whole tech stack set up and moving forward. So if you are interested in joining the Convology community, I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can learn more. There are plenty more tutorials coming for Deadline Funnel and FluentCRM and all the tech stack that you saw today. If you have any requests or any tutorials that you'd like me to make, also please leave a comment. I want to make the tutorials that you're looking for and that you need help with. So get in touch with me somehow or leave a comment with what you'd like to see, and I'll consider making a tutorial for it. But that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.